Welcome the night and its dreams. The soft patter of rain danced against the window pane, a rhythm that seemed to soothe the restless soul of the quiet night. The small coastal town was wrapped in a cocoon of mist, its street lamps glowing faintly like fireflies in a jar. Through the dim light, waves crashed gently on the shore, their murmurs blending seamlessly with the rain's gentle song. In her tiny attic room, a young girl named Lena sat curled beneath a patchwork quilt. Her eyes, heavy with drowsiness, gazed out the foggy window at the distant sea. She loved nights like this, when the rain blurred the edges of the world, making it feel softer, slower. Tonight, however, something unusual caught her attention. On the horizon, a faint outline of a ship emerged through the mist, its sails ghostly white against the charcoal sky. It drifted, almost like a mirage, wavering as if caught between worlds. Lena's heart quickened, though she didn't understand why. There was something both enchanting and eerie about the sight. The ship seemed impossibly quiet, as though it carried no crew. Its lanterns glimmered faintly, flickering like whispers in the dark. Who could be sailing on a night like this? She murmured to herself. Her grandmother's stories came rushing back, of spectral ships that roamed the seas during storms, carrying lost souls searching for peace. Lena shivered, though not from the cold. She pulled the quilt tighter around her shoulders but couldn't tear her gaze away. The rain intensified, each drop drumming against the roof with a steady cadence. The ship appeared closer now, its details sharper. The tattered sails, the weathered wood, the figure of someone standing at the bow. A figure cloaked in shadow. "Hello?" Lena whispered, as if they could hear her through the glass and the storm. The figure didn't move. Instead, the ship paused, anchored in place by some unseen force. A strange calm fell over the night, the rain softening to a mere drizzle. Lena swore she could hear the faintest melody carried by the wind, a song of longing, of journeys unfinished. She blinked, and in that instant, the ship vanished. The horizon was empty once more, swallowed by the mist and the steady rhythm of the rain. Lena sighed and leaned back, her eyelids growing heavier. Perhaps it had all been a dream, a trick of the stormy night. Yet as she drifted to sleep, she thought she heard the soft echo of that haunting melody, mingling with the rain's lullaby. And far out at sea, where no one else could see, the ghostly ship sailed on, its lanterns glowing faintly, a beacon for those who dreamed of distant horizons. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the thin gray clouds, brightening up the small seaside town. Lena woke up with a hazy feeling, as if last night was just a long dream. But when her eyes fell on the misty window frame, a chill crept down her spine. On the windowsill, a small glass bottle was quietly placed. Inside was a tiny piece of neatly folded cloth, grayish-white like the remnants of an ancient sail. Lena's heart beat faster. She couldn't remember where she had seen this bottle before. She opened the bottle, carefully taking out the piece of cloth. When she spread it out on her palm, Lena realized that it was not ordinary cloth. On its surface, there were thin lines embroidered with ocean waves, the faint lines as if eroded by time. In the center, a small line of words appeared, written in a strange language that Lena had never seen before. She frowned. "How?" Downstairs, Lena told her grandmother about the mysterious jar and the ship in the rainy night. She stopped stirring the tea, her eyes dull but shining with a strange light. "You said the ship was silent? And was there a shadow on it?" her grandmother asked, her voice low and slow. "Yes," Lena replied, her palm still clutching the cloth. Grandmother was silent for a long time, as if considering something. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft. "I saw the lamp of the deep sea." "What lamp?" "It's the ship of lost souls," her grandmother explained, her eyes looking far away. "They wander the ocean, carrying sadness and unfinished stories. Some say that if that ship appears to someone, it means they have been chosen to complete something that those souls could not." Lena shivered. "What should I do?" Grandmother shook her head slightly. "Only when it rains again, listen carefully to what the sea has to say. We cannot predict what they need, but when the time comes, you will understand." In the following days, Lena kept thinking about the ship and the mysterious cloth. She began to feel the wind blowing from the sea, carrying strange sounds like someone whispering from afar. Then, on another night, the rain fell again. But this time, instead of gently, it was heavy like hurried footsteps. Lena opened the window, feeling each cold drop of rain on her skin, and far away on the hazy horizon, the ship appeared again, this time brighter, as if it was waiting. She took a deep breath and picked up the glass bottle. It seemed that part of her understood. The story of the ship was not over, and she, somehow, was the one chosen to write the finale. That night, Lena did not hesitate. She put on a thin cloak, took the glass bottle, and stepped out into the rain. Under the dim light of the street lamps, she walked toward the shore. The waves crashed against the shore as if the ocean were whispering something urgent. The ghost ship was still there, hovering on the water, closer than before. The lights from the ship's lights flickered, reflecting off the waves, making the whole scene surreal. As Lena stepped onto the sand, she heard singing, a sad melody that she had only heard vaguely before. But now it was clearer, echoing through the rain, like a call from a faraway world. What should I do now? Lena wondered, but no one answered. She looked down at the bottle in her hand, then up at the ship. A strong feeling urged her forward. The waves came but did not stop her. Instead, the sea seemed to lead the way, opening a small path between the rolling waves. As Lena approached, the ship began to lower, as if bowing to welcome her. A long plank appeared, extending from the side of the ship into the water. With no way back, Lena stepped onto it. Her footsteps echoed in the quiet space, even though the waves and rain were still all around. She touched the deck, and the figure from the day before appeared before her. Still a tall, thin figure, covered in a black cloak. Their faces were hidden under a wide hat, but their eyes, two small, deep-sea blue points of light, looked straight at her. "You brought a token?" Their voices rang out, low and vague like an echo from the depths of the sea. "A token?" Lena was confused, but quickly remembered the bottle. She held it out. The person nodded, taking the bottle with his bony hands. They opened the jar, and the small piece of cloth inside flew up, swirling in the air, glowing brightly. The entire ship lit up, and Lena felt herself being enveloped by the light. "You have accepted our summons," the voice said, this time not from the other person, but from the ship itself. "Hear our story, and help us find our way home." Lena looked up, and before her eyes, a strange scene unfolded. The ship was no longer a physical entity, but a series of fragmented images. A group of sailors rowing through a storm, the light of a distant lighthouse, and finally, silhouettes sinking into the depths of the ocean. "We are lost," the voice continued. "The lighthouse we sought was hope, but before we reached it, we were consumed by greed and fear. Now we have only one wish, to complete the journey and bring our story to its final destination." Lena felt her heart tighten. She knew she could not refuse this plea. "I will help," she said, her voice firm. The lights on the ship suddenly dimmed, and the figure before her bowed deeply. "Thank you. Listen to the sea, and it will guide you." The rain outside suddenly stopped, and Lena found herself standing on the sand, the glass bottle in her hand. The ship was gone, but the sky was clearer now, and a faint lighthouse appeared on the horizon. Lena knew that this was only the beginning of a long journey. But she was not afraid. With the bottle in her hand and the promise in her heart, she was ready to step into the unfinished story of lost souls.